Hello and welcome back to another edition of the E-Show, episode number 11. Once again, my name is Neil Ravin, Director of PR and Social Media for the Eastern Hockey League. A new week, a new guest this week. It's Jimmy Mosso, the head coach and general manager of the Vermont Lumberjacks. So let's welcome in Jimmy to the E-Show and jump right into it. Jimmy, of course, has just recently taken over as the head coach of the Lumberjacks EHL team. They've won 5 of their last 7. And leading up to this, Jimmy, you've had some success at the premier level. How are you preparing to adapt what you learned in the premier level to the EHL level?
No, I guess to start, thanks for having me, Neil. Yeah, it's an awesome opportunity for me, jumping up a level. I think it's the same game, right? The puck's the same size, the nets are the same size, still have 5 players. It's the same hockey game, and I think there's more emphasis on speed, intensity, different things. Like everything has to be keyed in. Like my preparation as a coach has to be better. I've got to be ready to go all the time. I think there's more emphasis on everything on my end, which is exciting for me as a coach. It's pushing me as a coach, but I'm finding some early success here, and hopefully just going to keep rolling with it and build into a good playoff.
Are there some coaches across the league in particular that have been like mentors to you so far in this process?
Absolutely. I study hockey as my career, and I treat this as my profession, just like I would in a classroom if I was in college or something. I find coaches that are successful and that I can be around, and I watch. Like I really watch the details, what they do that helps them succeed, and I try to take bits and pieces of all the coaches that I appreciate and kind of try to implement that in who I am as a coach. So John Lounsbury, Chris Sorella, Rich DiCaprio, those guys are in our conference. They're successful every year. They're at the top of the league right now in both college commits as well as standings. So those 3 guys, I really try to watch every single thing they do. I try to find their strengths. Sometimes I try to see if they have any weaknesses. But I try to use them and their philosophies to build who I am as a coach myself.
And I'm glad that you brought up your conference because, in the North Conference, there are 8 teams, and there's no surprise and no denying it. I really should say that you have the most travel of anybody in the conference, located in Burlington, Vermont. Obviously, that sometimes could be a challenge for some teams where almost every bus trip is over 2 hours. How have you learned to deal with that as a coach with the Lumberjacks, and what do you try and teach your players about the long bus trips?
Well, part of what I teach when I'm coaching is I teach a philosophy of preparation and intensity. So that goes hand in hand with a lot of things, but certainly being on the road, you got to be ready to go. Like if you're not on time to the bus, you don't play that day. And it's day in, day out type of stuff. Little things add up. And when the puck drops, we are ready to go. Who I start in a game has a lot of value to us. So it comes from practice habits. We are ready to go every single day in practice, and that transfers over to the games. Bus trips doesn't matter. When the puck drops, we find a way to be ready to go every night.
And for the prospective parents and players at home that are trying to find that EHL home for them for next season. You've been with the Lumberjacks for a few years now. What is something unique about the organization that those parents and players should know about at home?
Well, I've coached in a lot of organizations. I played 6 years of junior hockey myself before college. So I've been around a lot of teams, been around a lot of coaches. And one thing that's very important to us here with the Lumberjacks, and it comes from our ownership down all the way through our staff, is culture. When I recruit, I look for kids that I think can play hockey that also have the character that I'm looking for. And another thing, bad eggs don't last in our locker room. We work too hard. I've got too many guys pushing the cart. If you're not holding on and if you're not contributing, it's tough here. So over the last few years, we've built an organization where our kids work the hardest. I think I've always had one of the hardest working teams in the league the last few years. And once you establish that and you keep that going, every new kid that comes in jumps on board. So now we've established a culture here over a few years, and it's kind of what helps us be successful, I think, as a program. So like for instance, the national anthem, the way we stand for the national anthem matters. Being on time. We pay attention to a lot of little details that, at the end of the day, even when hockey's over, those little details are going to help these kids turn into good young men and be successful when they go on in their job careers.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I noticed every game that I've gone to that you've been at, the way that your team conducts themselves during the national anthem. For those listening in at home, just watch the Lumberjacks next time during the national anthem. They hold in place until the final note is played, and then they move off the line. It is very respectful the way that you guys honor the flag. And now, shifting gears a little bit, I understand that we have some breaking news while we're on this call right now. As I got on the call, you had no official NCAA commitments yet, but I understand there's one official right now.
Yes, Patrick Manning just committed to Anna Maria College this morning. So he's one of a bunch. I'm not gonna give away anything before they become official, but I would expect another 4 or 5 to come through in the next week to 2 weeks. We've been really working the college coaches. I've been on the phone. A lot of the coaches are starting to really like what we have established here. And little things that matter. When the kids go on visits, they're dressed in shirt and tie, and they say yes, sir, and little things like that. That our kids are starting to go into those meetings and look like young men that are professional, so the college coaches definitely are attracted to the presentation from our boys, and I think it's going to keep moving forward.
Well, congrats to Patrick on that. 1 week he's named the defenseman of the week, and then he commits to his college a few days later. That's awesome for him. And now one final question for you, Jimmy, with 10 games left to go here in the middle of a very tight playoff race. What is the message in your locker room right now?
Right now we're trying to win every battle. When we break it down to one-on-one battles all over the ice, we want to be more prepared. We want to be more intense. Those are the things that we can control. Sometimes you can't control the way the puck handles on your stick, but you can always control your work ethic. So we're trying to, bring back that work ethic right now. We're battling in practice. Guys are competing for spots. Lines are changing every day based on who's working the hardest. So right now we're trying to peak in terms of our work ethic in the next 10 games so that at the end of the season, we've earned that playoff spot. And for a team to come out and beat us in a best-of-3 series, they're going to have to put in a lot of work. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We're just ready to battle every day.
Well, there you have it, folks. They've won 5 of 7, all 7 of those games on the road as well. They'll return back home this upcoming Monday when they get set to face off with the East Coast Wizards at Letty Park. That is a noon puck drop. So thank you for joining the East Show, Jimmy, and good luck on Monday.
Thanks for having me, guys.